Hey everybody, this is Grace and I'm on my way to go to the lab and take some tests. You know, the one thing about this place is, you know, I've known a whole lot of different doctors and different offices and over the years and seen how it's developed. A lot of them, when I was younger, you had to go to a lab, you know, one of these big companies. And those, to me, were always messed up. You couldn't even call them directly at some point. That whole thing of not being able to call places directly, never was a fan. And these days, I don't know if people even make phone calls anymore. So, they do everything online. But, you know, as far as being progressive, this one's not, because the appointment, the doctor will, you know, or the provider will make the blood, you know, give the blood test, which blood test the person, you know, which labs the person needs to do, right there. And the people, they schedule the appointment. They schedule it, so we have to go back to do our blood work. Why can't we do it right then? I'm used to those. So you do it right then. And just somebody comes to get your blood, or you go just down the hall or something like that, and they take your blood. But no, this one you have to come back. And the first time they did it to me, they set 2 different appointments for labs, plus another one for some other kind of test. I think it was an EKG or something. I don't remember. But so it was 3 appointments. And I asked them, I called and I said, cancel it, or I wanted to reschedule. I said, why can't they do all these on the same day? And the woman said, I said, even the day that I'm there. You know, and she said, well, you can make the appointments for all the same day. And I said, well, why didn't they tell me that? You know, I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know their... Now, I don't know if I told her that or not, but, you know, why wouldn't they? I think that's one of the biggest questions I have had for a while now. And it's not just with, you know, healthcare providers. Is, how would I know that? Seriously, how would I know that? Okay, and like I said, this is not at any, just one place, any kind of place. Not just doctors' offices or anything to do with medical. It's any place. Too many times it's happened lately that I've had to ask that, well, how would I know that? I mean, it's not something, it's their protocol, their whatever. And of course they know it because they do it all day long, and they work there, they were trained there and all this stuff. But consumers, customers, whatever they are, wherever, we wouldn't know that. And that kind of worries me about people working. If they can't figure out that the customer, or the payee, what is it? If they wouldn't know, if they can't understand that we wouldn't know, then that's a problem. I worry more and more about what's being left, you know, when, you know how people my age, mainly older, get to, they say, what I'm leaving behind, what kind of world I'm leaving behind. It's not all on us, each individual, but it's something a lot of people say, and I'm saying it, you know, and I'm not saying it about any age group either. I don't like all this BS people going around talking about this age group, this generation, that generation. They're just downright, you know, stereotyping their prejudice against whichever one they're against. And that's not, I'm worried about leaving that kind of stuff behind. I taught against racism, ageism, classism, sexism, on and on and on is the negative isms, as I call them, at college and university. But man, it just seems like it's just going wild these days. People don't care, unless they're going to get kicked off of a platform where they're making money, you know, or some job where they're making money. But too much of it, I mean, it goes beyond just those. Just too much of it The ageism thing is bad. Really bad these days, in my opinion. In my view, what I see. And it's, I mean, seriously. What's gotten into people? That they can't do it on this or that or the other because, oh, they're going to be, shamed. Forgive anybody shaming somebody these days. You do something, you need to be shamed. You need to be shamed. Seriously, some people, it's like they've never had to face being shamed or told they're guilty of something, or they haven't had to face the consequences of their words and or their actions or their inactions, or not giving the words. The whole thing of flying through a mission, they just haven't had to pay the consequences for it. I remember telling someone in my family, the younger generation in my family, or that was at the time, about consequences to her actions. And she said, what does that mean? And I figure, she doesn't understand the word consequences. And but she understands what it means to pay the consequences. No, she did not. She flat out told me, she goes, I've never heard anything like that before, ever. And we talked about it, and it was true. She had never been told that basically if she did something wrong, that it's on her, that she has to basically pay for it. And not, money, but sometimes it does involve money, but you see what I'm saying? That she can't just get away with whatever she wants to do. I was shocked. I was younger then. These days, I'm not so shocked about anything, anybody, any age, like I said. So, okay, it's been a long time since really I've been shocked by anything. Long time. But anyway, I say that and watch something scary happen. Something shocking happen. Okay, let's see about this now. What in the world do they have that big old thing for? You see? What's going on over there? By the way, I'm not that close to the car in front of me. It's I'm zoomed in. My camera is zoomed in, so it looks a lot closer. Lot closer. And that's not even all the way out. Got it. What in the world? Sometimes you have to wonder about things. But it's not shocking. That was just funny. Plus funny timing. There was out there, it looked like those kids swimming pools, plastic ones, a little bitty for babies. A lot of people use them for their animals. I've seen it. People use them for dogs or ducks or whatever. There was one out there on that site right there. If that's what it was, what else would it be? But anyway, who knows? Okay. Usually when I go this way, I've been there several times. I always have to put on my GPS, and when I do, it's like, oops, I almost passed the road, because it was right there. And you would think I would know it because I know this road like you wouldn't believe. I don't remember all the places, the buildings and everything, but there's always something coming up. And usually there's road construction. Last 5 years, there was lots and lots and lots of road construction. Yeah. Anyway, about past just over 4 years, something like that. Anyway, there's a point in there somewhere, but still some road construction's like, when y'all gonna ever finish this up? Anyway, what was I talking about? I guess I was just rambling, something to do on the way to the lab. I did that whole thing as I usually do. I would usually wake up in the middle of the night, and it takes me an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long, before I finally wind back to bed. And I don't like that when I do that when I have an appointment. So you see this, I don't like driving in this lane anymore. About a week ago maybe, Adam and I think it may have been on this road, whichever road it was, it doesn't matter, but and somebody coming out from that, from the right, coming out of a road, out of those where those houses are to the right. Just she ran all the way. She just did not stop at the stop sign, and she was in the middle of this lane, going the opposite direction, of course. And I had to stop, really hard, stop fast, not to hit her. And that happens far too much. Some of them, they creep out just a little bit. But I looked at her because I could see her, because she was right in front of me, going in another direction. And she was in the wrong, obviously, but I looked at her and she just looked like she was dazed and confused, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Something induced it. But that's what she looked like. And I'm like, I don't like driving in that road. I mean, it's not my first time. I used to always drive in the middle. Always. But it's been a habit more lately because the traffic has been much, much more that I've been driving whichever lane I'm going to be turning in whichever direction. In that lane. Not after that. Okay, I think it's my next road up here. Okay, when I get here, I always do this. Nice, beautiful sky, huh? Anyway, I was right after that. I was close to the road, so I let it go ahead and guide me here. But my GPS on my cell phone. And I wished I was still recording. Because, oh my gosh, what a doofus on the road. Total doofus. I'm going through my second childhood, by the way. I'm going to tell you what I said. It definitely seems like I'm going through my second childhood. I remember when I was a kid, people saying that about my grandfather, the one I knew, my maternal grandfather, that he was going through a second childhood, something like that. And I was like, what? A little kid. But I still go, what? But anyway, the doofus in front, it was a guy, because I did stop, he was right in front of me at some point, and we were stopped at a light, and he moved over, and I saw that it was a guy, and he moved to get something out of his seat or something, and he was weaving in and out of people. It's 3 lanes on each side, plus every once in a while turning lanes. So it says maximum 5-6 lanes on each side. And he was weaving in and out on the far 2 right ones. Not turning lanes, but far 2 right ones. I was in the far right one. And he just kept weaving in and out of people like he was really going to get, the people in front of me that were directly in front of me, and on the other side, the next lane over, directly in front of me, catty cornered to me. They weren't letting him. No way. They were not playing with his game. That he was supposed to be first, and everybody's supposed to part ways and move out of the way for him because he wanted to go faster. And so nobody did. Well, here's the thing. He was weaving in and out so much, but he was wanting to get in the turning lane when it finally came up, in the far right lane. So he was trying to weave in and out to get in front, just to get in a turning lane. Well, he was right in front of me still. Didn't get very far. Usually I'm waving at people, waving bye-bye to them that do that kind of thing, because they're really not getting any further. They're just putting people in danger and themselves in danger. That's all there is to it. They are. Okay, now I've been driving for 46 years, going on 47 years, somewhere around there. And I used to do a lot of road trips. I mean, a lot of road trips. All the way up to Northern California, to the southernmost Florida Keys, and so many places in between, and up and all over, and through the mountains, through the over the river and through the woods kind of thing. And, especially lately, I've been paying more attention. They don't get on down the road. That's what they're wanting to do, is to hurry up and get there before everybody else. They want to be in front and get there fast, and they meet us at the light. These lights are programmed, and very seldom do they ever get ahead on a light. Seriously. Traffic. Plain and simple. Traffic and the lights. But anyway, I'm here at this place, and I usually do like this, like I was saying. Isn't that sky look beautiful? Today we're supposed to be up in the 90s. It's 80, and it's 10:22, 23. Just changed. Yeah. But one thing I like about that, my appointment isn't until almost an hour from now. But I can go in there, and they just take me. It's a huge, huge place. You just sign in and you wait a few minutes and they take you. They don't really care that much about be there at the exact time. They want to get the blood test done and over with. Period. They have, they're sitting there. Oh, my legs are feeling funny, so I'm rubbing them. But I've had edema for, solid for just over 2 years, maybe, around 2 years. And sometimes I'm on 3 diuretics a day, 2 of the same. It's a blood pressure medication, and the other one is what they gave me after the ER visit when they determined I had heart failure. And so my legs will go, the swelling goes down. And they never were huge like I saw, so much online. And I'm like, oh my goodness. People's feet, their ankles, legs, and all that got that huge. Mine were never like that, except when I went that day. And I don't know about the lower part of them, around the ankles, but my knee, I was fixated on my right knee. Left knee was probably just as bad, but I was fixated. And I kept looking at Adam. Had left the morning before, or the day before. He and his older brother had left to go visit all their family in Texas, drive road trips and all, and had left me alone. They had taken the dogs to the pound, my goodness, to the kennel, and they left me all by myself. I mean, and they didn't know I had a heart failure. I didn't know it either. And just so happened that day I had physical therapy, and my legs had not been that swollen at all. And the physical therapist, she said, she looked at him. First time she ever even looked at my leg, and she said, "Do you know your leg is extremely swollen? Your knee?" And she said, "You need to call your doctor." The short version of the rest of the day, I wound up that evening around 7 or so in the ER, and yeah, they said heart failure. He said it right away, and he being the ER doctor, not my doctor, and just, they did the LASIK thing right away and all that, and I hope nobody hits me. The last car that almost parked next to me got really close. She went on. She figured it was too small, too narrow for her. But I'm watching to make sure she doesn't hit me, or I don't know. Some of the people out here are in they have to be in their 90s, and you have to go thumbs up. You're still driving, But I haven't seen anybody do anything wrong out here. But I'm gonna jump here. I remember, it just triggered me to remember this something funny. Was I was at this restaurant one day, and I was leaving. I was by myself. I was just picking up some stuff. It was a chicken place or something. I think it was a chicken place. And no, it was I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't really have like arrows telling people which direction to go in and which direction to go out. And it's more of like, plus the people can park up front too. And then it has a drive-through in the back, and it's really confusing. It's, like I said, it doesn't have the arrows. And I think more people just think that it's kind of like what you would see anywhere. You go in on this side and you come out on that side, you know, according to the drive-through. But I was sitting there and I was like, there was somebody on the street trying to turn in, and it was turned out to be two women, two elderly women. Okay, it was an old car, and they were trying to come in where most people go out, and it's not wide enough, really. I mean, I you know, they managed to get, you know, come in next to me, and they realized as they turned what they did. I could tell. They both looked at one another, talking to one another, and they looked and they cracked up laughing. It was just so cute. It would have been great for some kind of meme or, you know, little bitty ad or something. They just cracked up laughing. I was like, yeah, they're having fun. They were probably in their 90s. You know, but at the same token, some people would say, well, that's not safe and blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't know. When I see people my age and younger that drive worse than I've ever seen any of the, you know, elders. So, but see, you know, you got to be trained right in the beginning, from the beginning. The road is not all about you. It's not all yours, and you don't get to weave in and out of traffic and get away with it. You know, some people told this guy today, we're not letting you. I was like, thumbs up. They made sure they went slow enough where he could not get past them. So, all right, I'm going to go in there. Yeah, I think I will. Okay, I'll wait a little bit. That place is the one that smells. It's a huge place, huge waiting room, like, has different sections, you know, for different people, but it's all open. And I'd asked finally, I mean, the first time I walked in, I went, oh my God. It smelled like really bad body odor. I mean, the whole place is walking in, the front part, where the waiting rooms, the big, huge waiting rooms and sections, all open to everybody. Stunk like horrible body odor. And the next time I walked in, I was, whew, it's still there. So I asked the woman when I checked in, and she said, what smell? And I was like, she's being sarcastic. She's real nice, but I didn't know her. I'd only seen her once before. But I don't think she was. I know somebody who doesn't smell any, really, I mean, maybe once or twice. That's Adam. He doesn't smell the odors. And I have that, you know, some say hypervigilance or something. But I smell them. I do. I have a strong sense. And I smell stuff before other people do. So that's important. They eventually do. Adam usually doesn't. And it has to be natural gas, and that he will smell. But not at first. He will smell it after the while. My stomach's growling. I hope you didn't hear all that. But I was just about to say that. So let me get to that. Is I've been fasting. This time I had a fast. And the first time I was here, the women who scheduled my appointments, 3 out, she said, you know, 3 appointments for lab and that whatever it was. She told me that I only had to fast for 4 hours. That's something I have never heard. But so many things progress, you know. And this is a stream of consciousness kind of video now, somewhat. But she, I said, really, 4 hours? And when I called to reschedule, I said, I know. I said, which one, you know, I said, do I have to fast for any of them? I know I have to fast for like 4 hours prior to it, so I need to schedule it at a certain time, blah, 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 like that. And she said, who told you that, 4 hours? And I told her. She said, don't worry. She said, I've been hearing this a lot lately. You know, no real concern, but that's not how we do it. It's 8 hours. And she said, I've heard this from other people. And I went to my manager and I asked my manager, and she said, yeah, it's 8 hours. You know, so like I said, I never heard it. And you have to wonder, why are these people giving out false information, causing people problems, and scheduling appointments like 3 out for blood tests? Come on, get it all over with. You know, I used to work when I was a career student, you know, a professional student, some people call it, like over 20 years. I used to work off and on in these offices, like as interim office management, surgery scheduler. I did billing, medical billing too. I fought those insurance companies, made them pay. Don't give me no BS stuff. And I was always like the top biller. I mean, it wasn't biller. Mine was more of the making them pay. I loved workers' comp, to make them pay, you know. But anyway, I've gotten a little distracted. So many people got out of their cars all at the same time, all going different directions. Squirrel moment, but mine was people moment. Oh, I was going to say that about my immature thing, was when that guy was weaving in and out and all that, he also tailgated the people who were in front. They just weren't going to move for him. And he kept tailgating, and you know, that's my thing. Oh, like that. But anyway, it's at the light when he finally had stopped. He didn't get any further up. All that, he kept going back and forth between those two lanes. And he was right there in front of me and right behind that person that wasn't going to let him do that. And my very, very immature, I'm not even going to be funny and say my very mature response, but it was, and I've never heard it like this, so I don't know why it came to me like this, was something like, Nana, Nana, boo, boo, you're sitting in doo-doo. I gotta tell you, is this real, this second childhood stuff? Because that was never my childhood, but I cracked myself up. Oh, second childhood thing, seriously. That is just too funny. You never know what causes stuff to happen. And it could be, it could be, you know, back then there was a thing about that when I was a kid. Saying, yeah, they're going through their second childhood. But anyway, I guess it's time for me to go in there now. I'll talk to y'all in another video.